We've got a wild weather pattern taking shape. Everything from thunderstorms and 60 to snow and temperatures heading toward freezing. A breakdown is just ahead.
Will not be able to perform its constitutional and statutory functions.
Kentucky's Supreme Court Chief Justice telling lawmakers today that if they accept the current budget proposal, it'll spell bad news for the state court system.
A mumps outbreak at UK has health leaders taking action to try and stop it from spreading.
And there are people out there that are immunocompromised.
How you can make sure you don't get the virus.
WKYT News starts now with First Alert Weather.
Good evening. A beautiful day across the bluegrass, but changes are coming.
The wild weather we've been talking about will soon be moving in. We are tracking rain chances later tonight. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has an early look now at your forecast.
Yeah, guys, such a shame. A nice day that is just wrapping up across the area. Clouds are increasing. That's a sign of rainy times ahead of us, and then that big storm rolls in for the day tomorrow. We look at our live sky cams from across the area. Every location, now all 9 of them, showing an increase in clouds. And later this evening, in 2 to 3 hours, we're going to see rains beginning to pick up the pace, courtesy of this massive storm system that is spinning now into parts of Louisiana. Severe weather, major tornado outbreak just ahead of that storm. I'm not talking about severe weather in terms of true thunderstorms or tornadoes, but high winds, heavy rain, some thunder and lightning beginning to pick up here across the volunteer state of Tennessee, and that will inch into central and eastern Kentucky over the next 2 to 4 hours. Already seeing some drops now beginning to cross out of Tennessee into sections of McCreary County, Wayne County, over toward Whitley and Bell counties as well. Heavy rain, thunderstorms developing tonight. Watch the creeks and streams. Tomorrow it is a big temperature crash that will lead to high winds and some snow breaking out not too long after we have some thunder filling the air across central and eastern Kentucky, guys. That wild hour-by-hour forecast just minutes from now.
Chris, thank you. He says the court will have to take some drastic measures. Today, Kentucky's Chief Justice told lawmakers that trimming the judicial budget will not give them enough to do their job.
In fact, John Minton says that if the legislature adopts the governor's proposal, they may have to shut down the entire system temporarily. Phil Pendleton explains why in our top story at 5:30.
Chief Justice John Minton told lawmakers that the current budget proposal will not allow the Kentucky court system to operate. In fact, he's proposing an alternative, what he calls House Bill 306, which he says will keep the Kentucky courts both operating and progressing.
Unless the legislature exempts the Court of Justice, the judicial branch of state government will not be able to perform its constitutional and statutory functions.
Chief Justice John Minton is calling on lawmakers to adopt their own budget, not the proposal from the Kentucky governor. That proposal calls for cutting the courts by 9% over the next 2 years.
We could not meet our payroll obligations and would likely have to shut down the courts, the entire court system, for approximately 3 weeks between now and June 30.
Minton says drug courts are at risk, and he says advances in technology like the e-courts program could be stalled. He told lawmakers that Kentucky judges also rank at the bottom of the nationwide pay scale.
It's been a decade since Kentucky's justices and judges have received an appropriate increase in compensation.
Minton says that 87% of their budget is actually personnel. He says the most vulnerable with this proposal are those workers who work for the judges and also those non-elected officials in the Kentucky Circuit Court clerks' offices. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
The state legislature has until the end of the current session to adopt a budget which will go into effect on June 30th. A Senate panel has approved a bill aimed at putting more bite in Kentucky's laws against dog fighting. The actual act of dog fighting is already illegal in Kentucky, but Kentucky is the only state that does not outlaw activities contributing to it. The new bill would make it a felony to breed, possess, train, or sell dogs for the purpose of dog fighting. Lawmakers have been working with animal rights and sportsmen's groups to make the bill acceptable to both.
A man faces charges tonight after police say he dropped his child off at school while drunk. Our county-by-county coverage at 5:30 begins in Madison County. Berea police say 34-year-old Benjamin West dropped his child off at Berea Community School. As he was leaving, police say West lost control of his car and hit a tree. Police tell us West smelled like alcohol and had bloodshot eyes. He was charged with DUI and wanton endangerment. In Hardin County, police say a dangerous inmate on the run has been spotted. 40-year-old Lastia Shreves broke out of the Western Kentucky Correctional Center last week. Police say Shreves was seen in the Flint Hill area Monday afternoon. Witnesses told police she and a man were staying in a vacant home. When police showed up at the house, they found a stolen truck and arrested 40-year-old Randy Harrington. While Harrington was being arrested, Shreves left the house. A school near where Shreves was last seen had extra security today. And in Clark County, a manslaughter trial has ended in a mistrial. Today, the jury started deliberating in the case of Demetrius Morton. Police say Morton punched David Bailey in July of 2013 after Bailey began talking to a couple of young girls. Morton was originally charged with assault, but it was upgraded to manslaughter when Bailey died a couple of days later. Neighbors claim Morton was trying to protect the girls. Winchester Sun reports that a juror got sick during deliberations this afternoon. Attorneys will be back in court on April 7th to figure out the next steps.
UK health leaders are trying to stop the spread of mumps on campus. Last week, the university announced they have seen 3 confirmed cases of mumps. Now, even if you were vaccinated as a child, you can still get the virus. New at 5:30, Garrett Weimer tells us how students can prevent getting the mumps.
Health officials here at UK say there's a chance you can still get the mumps even if you've been vaccinated, but the most effective way to prevent it is with 2 doses of the MMR vaccine. They're urging students now to get that second dose or even both doses if they haven't already. University Health Services will offer those vaccines at a walk-in clinic on Wednesday from 1 to 3 in the afternoon. The UHS Director of Nursing says most students have gotten it as children, but they want to offer it now that they've seen 3 confirmed cases of mumps on campus. We're told the students who tested positive had been vaccinated, although symptoms are less severe if you've gotten the shot.
Even though mumps is not a life-threatening disease, it is still very contagious, and there are people out there that are immunocompromised, and it could be deadly to them.
Scott says students should bring their student ID and history of immunizations. For full-time students who have paid the health fee, it'll cost $59. It'll be $74 for other students, and the shot is covered under the UK student insurance plan. In Lexington, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Now, if students cannot make it to the clinic, they can make an appointment and still get their vaccine that way. Flu shots will also be available at tomorrow's clinic for $10. UK is also alerting students of a possible case of bacterial meningitis on campus. In a letter to students, UK officials said the student has the bacterial infection that causes meningitis, but they are still waiting on test results. Students who came in contact with the student have been given medication as a precaution. We'll have the very latest on that health alert on WKYT News at 6.
We have an update tonight on a dog rescued from a home last week in Jessamine County. Animal Care and Control posted this video to their Facebook page this afternoon. They say Snicker is recovering and walking more. And they add Snicker even had a little pep in his step today. Both Snicker and another dog were taken from the home last week. Officers say both dogs were starving, but they were worried Snicker would never recover because he couldn't even stand up. The second dog, Boo, is also doing better. The dog's owner, Vicky Madden, is charged with second-degree animal cruelty. A generous donation is helping a Kentucky landmark get another step closer to being rebuilt. Duke Energy donated $25,000 to the owners of the Rabbit Hash General Store. The Boone County store was destroyed by a fire over Valentine's Day weekend. It had been in business for 185 years. A GoFundMe page has raised $54,000 so far. They're trying to raise $250,000. Investigators believe an old potbelly stove may have caused the fire. For now, that store is operating out of a barn across the street.
It's that time of year when many of you are soon expecting tax refund checks, and some of you have asked us this same good question. Why is the state of Kentucky holding state refund checks? We reported on this a couple of weeks ago, but it bears repeating. Yes, the Kentucky Department of Revenue says there could be a delay processing electronic tax filers of up to 3 weeks. and that's if the filing is free of mistakes. Now, blame the delay on enhanced security features and fraud analysis tools. And last month, the department began accepting electronically filed tax returns and anticipates that most taxpayers will continue to file that way, electronically. Electronic filing for individuals topped 85% last year. So according to the department, filing electronically is still safe and the quickest way for taxpayers to get their refund, and the only way to have their refund direct deposited. Now, refund requests from taxpayers who file paper forms could take 6 to 8 weeks. For the 2014 tax year, this is pretty significant, the department says they stopped more than $16.5 million in fraudulent refund requests. To submit a good question, send an email to goodquestion@WKYT.com. There are only about 15 minutes left until polls close in Harrodsburg. Voters there are deciding on expanding alcohol sales.
And Kentucky Senator Rand Paul hands over his waste report to budget makers. Bill Bryant has the details of the report in the bottom line.
Good evening. The polls close shortly in Harrodsburg, where voters have been deciding today whether to expand alcohol sales. The special election is to decide whether smaller restaurants, those that seat as few as 50 people, can serve alcohol in the historic town. Right now, only larger restaurants, those that seat more than 100 people, can sell alcohol by the drink in Harrodsburg. Wet-dry elections are also coming up in McCreary County and Adair County next month. Republican presidential candidates face off for the Nevada caucuses this evening. Donald Trump is hoping to pick up another win. Polls indicate he is well positioned there and in several states for Super Tuesday, which is a week from today. Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz appear to be fighting it out for second place in Nevada. Kentucky Republican Senator Rand Paul has turned over his waste report today to the Congressional Budget Committee that's putting together the country's spending plan. Paul highlights dozens of items he considers wasteful or misspent, including $150,000 for yoga classes for federal employees, $8 million to study people's email response habits, and $450,000 on a climate change video game for high schools. He also criticized $850,000 to fund winemaking classes for community colleges and the spending of $30,000 U.S. tax dollars to study the gambling habits of small business owners in Uganda. Finally, something Americans seem to agree on. An Associated Press poll out today shows Democrats, Republicans, and Independents all put a high priority on saving Social Security. Other areas bring more fractured results, but Social Security stands out as important to most. Bill Bryant, WKYT.
Well, you may have heard them. The tornado sirens were blaring this morning, but it wasn't something to be worried about. It was just a drill.
This week is Severe Weather Awareness Week in Kentucky, and to make sure everyone is prepared, tornado sirens and weather alert radio sounded off at 10:07 this morning. Students across the state even got in some practice.
Any month of the year is tornado season. There's not a month in Kentucky when tornadoes can't happen.
The entire drill took less than 5 minutes. Emergency management officials say saving time by planning in advance for severe weather is critical.
Now